Alexander the Great, King of Macedonia, is remembered as one of history's most brilliant conquerors. In just over a decade, he created an empire stretching from Greece to the edges of India. His ambition, military genius, and political vision reshaped the ancient world. But his story is also one of relentless expansion, exhaustion, and the limits of human endurance. The Young King and the Persian Challenge. When Alexander became king in 336 BC, the Persian Empire had dominated the Near East for more than 2 centuries. For the Greeks, Persia was the great enemy, the power that had invaded their homeland during the Greco-Persian Wars. Alexander inherited from his father, Philip II, a disciplined and innovative army. With it, he set out to complete his father's mission, the destruction of Persia. In 334 BCE, Alexander crossed the Hellespont with about 40,000 men. As he stepped onto Asian soil, he threw a spear into the land and declared that Asia would be conquered by the spear of Macedonia. His first major battle came at the Granicus River, where he defeated the Persian satraps. But the true test arrived a year later at Issus, where Alexander faced the Persian king Darius III. Despite being outnumbered, Alexander used his signature tactic, a direct cavalry charge at the enemy's center. Darius fled, and Alexander won a decisive victory. The fall of the Persian Empire. After Issus, Alexander marched south into Phoenicia. In Tyre, he faced one of the most difficult sieges of his career. The city stood on an island, heavily fortified. Alexander built a massive causeway across the sea to reach its walls. After 7 months, Tyre fell. It was a demonstration of Alexander's determination. Nothing could stop him. In Egypt, he was welcomed as a liberator. There he founded Alexandria, a city destined to become one of the greatest cultural centers of the ancient world. Finally, in 331 BCE, Alexander met Darius again at Gaugamela, one of history's most famous battles. Although the Persian army was far larger, Alexander once more broke the center with a direct charge. Darius fled, and the Persian Empire collapsed. Alexander entered Babylon, Susa, and Persepolis, becoming the new lord of Asia. The invasion of Judea. After Persia's fall, Alexander moved through the Levant. In Judea, the situation was different from other regions. According to ancient sources, the Jews did not resist him. Jerusalem surrendered peacefully, and Alexander allowed them to continue practicing their religion. He sought stability in the region and preferred to avoid unnecessary conflict while consolidating his control over Persia. The invasion of Judea was swift and strategic, without major battles. Alexander's eyes were already fixed on the east. Toward the east, the march to India. With Persia defeated, Alexander's ambition grew. He wanted to reach the ends of the world, the mysterious lands the Greeks called India. In 327 BCE, he crossed the Hindu Kush and entered the Indian subcontinent. There he encountered new challenges, dense jungles, extreme climates, and kingdoms with unfamiliar armies. His most famous Indian battle was against King Porus at the Hydaspes River. Porus commanded a fearsome force of war elephants. The battle was brutal. The elephants caused chaos among the Macedonian phalanx, but Alexander adapted, encircled the enemy, and won. Impressed by Porus's courage, Alexander allowed him to remain king as his ally. Why Alexander could not conquer India. Despite his victories, Alexander could not continue his expansion. Several factors stopped him. Exhaustion of the army. His soldiers had marched for more than 8 years, fighting in deserts, mountains, and jungles. They were physically and emotionally exhausted. Climate and terrain. India presented extreme conditions: monsoons, humidity, diseases, and massive rivers. The Macedonian army was not prepared for this environment. Endless local resistance. India was not a single empire, but a mosaic of kingdoms. Conquering it would have required decades. The mutiny at the Hyphasis River. When Alexander announced he wanted to march further toward the Ganges, his troops refused. For the first time, Alexander had to accept a limit: the return and the end. Alexander turned back toward Babylon, planning new campaigns. But he never carried them out. In 323 BCE, at just 32 years old, he died suddenly. His empire, too vast and without a clear heir, fragmented among his generals. Alexander's legacy endures, a blend of ambition, brilliance, and the tragic limits of conquest.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and write a comment. It's most appreciated.